Well, welcome everybody. Oh my goodness, I don't know why there's things popping up on my screen. Stop it. How are y'all doing? Welcome everybody. 505 interview series coming to you from the 505 Summer Lounge, aka the Sweatshop. Man, am I excited for tonight's guest. I got turned on to him about this time last year. Got to meet him a couple times. Fantastic, awesome dude. Great story that he has on getting into the industry, his experience into the industry. I'm excited to have him on. But as a reminder to everybody who's watching, pinned in the comments section there's the link tree there. Go support my advertisers and sponsors. They help keep this show running. Use the promo code, save yourself some coinage when you're out there and trying to buy cigars, find cigars. I know a couple of my partner shops do sell the cigars of my guests tonight, and you can use that promo code to save some money on it. So without further ado, we're going to bring on Brandon Oveson of Apostate Cigars.
So, what's up? How's it going, man?
It's good, man. Glad to have you on the show. Thank you for making the time to come on.
And, absolutely.
Man, I appreciate it. I get to meet you last year, and I've been super impressed with what everybody talks about your cigars. They're fantastic.
Thank you. Stoked to be chilling with you, man. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Cheers.
Thank you for coming on. I'll hand it over to you, sir, and introduce yourself, who you are, and your show, your brand, and a little bit about you for people who may not know who you are or been introduced to you yet.
Thank you. My name is Brandon. I am the co-founder, director of sales, co-blender for Apostate Cigars. We're based out of Salt Lake City, Utah. My partner Kendrick and I have a background in retail. Kendrick took over running Beehive Cigars back in 2009 as the owner. I came on about 2016, 2015, I can never remember, as his GM there. So he and I kind of helped grow Beehive Cigars into the Utah behemoth that it is today. And, developed a love for unique blends, developed a love for the community, obviously, and wanted to explore that a little bit more. In 2020, when the pandemic hit, we had an opportunity to work with some of the manufacturers that we had good relationships with through the retail side. Yeah, you're showing off the full lineup there. Damn, dude. The phone call that led to.
Oh, lost him. He'll be back on. So we get him right back. He's got some issues.
I don't know.
That's really I don't know either.
That's really zoomed in. Look, you guys like my forehead? Yeah. All right, let me zoom out. So I don't know where that cut out. I'm sorry, guys. I got a strong signal. I can only do what I can do.
I think you are all right. You were talking about the moving into 2020 and the creation of the blends.
Yeah, so 2020, when the pandemic hit, we had a little bit of time on our hands with the retail store not able to fully operate the way we were used to. So we made a phone call to our friend Hochi Blanco, who runs Tabacalera Palma, and told him that we were interested in exploring and seeing what we could do as far as making our own blends go. It initially was a conversation about house blends for the shop, something like that. But it came down to with access to Hochi's factory, his production, it turned into a conversation where we felt like we could take a brand national, and that's what we decided to do. So we started blending with Hochi in February of 2021, and we hit shelves December of 2021. We had plenty of time to go through and make some really good blends, and it's doing well, man. It's growing. We've got 4 blends on the market right now, with 2 more dropping any day now. We've got 6 blends basically on the market. So shops are welcoming us. Smokers are welcoming the tobacco. It's a great product, and we just want to build community, man. That's our goal. Our goal is not so much the cigar, but what the cigar does, right? Building community, building brotherhood, creating conversations, creating places where people can come together. So it's been fun, man. It's kind of like what you're doing, a little bit.
Little bit, I love showcasing small brands and some of the brands who I feel don't get the love that they deserve out there,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the boutique and small batch world. And
Right.
so, if I can provide a little bit of a voice for
Yeah.
your brands like you out there and telling people how amazing and great the cigar is,
Thank
man,
you.
I mean, this one is definitely my favorite, the Deseret.
Smoking it right now. Yeah.
Yes, it's definitely my favorite on it. I have smoked the Deseret and I have smoked the La Homa. I've not smoked the other two. So when I went and I bought the sampler, I bought it specifically because I really wanted to try these other two. So I got the two I've tried that I really, really enjoy in there, and then the two I wanted to try, but it's been a minute since I've had it, so I wanted to smoke with the Deseret.
Let's talk about the blends for a second. We have 4 blends on the market. So what you have in your hand is our first release. Well, we released 3 cigars at once, but the first cigar that we blended, kind of our learning process, letting Hochi and his son kind of show us the ropes of what good blending techniques are, is the Initiatory. So that's the one with the red label. That's our Habano. It's got a Sumatra wrapper, San Andres binder, and then all Dominican filler. That to me is very traditional. It's very Habano. It's very Dominican. It's got those floral notes, those oaky notes, those cedar notes. It's medium plus in strength. Construction's insane. We got a 95 rating on that cigar from Boston Jimmy over at Stogie Press. That one is probably our blend that gets, I would say, overlooked at first until you smoke it. And then once you smoke it, it kind of reels you in. So really proud of that one. And then the Liahona that you talked about is our Connecticut. That's a 45.
Every now and then, sometimes the stream sometimes the streamer, I think it's that time of the month. Because it's not you. Every now and then, it's like I'll have like 5 or 6 shows, no issue stream wise, and then all of a sudden I'll have a show where it's an issue with the guest, or I have an issue on the stream, and then it's fine again. So I'm blaming the streamer, not you.
No, I can't make my signal stronger. It's as strong as it gets. So I don't know.
No, I think it's the streamer. It's that time of the month for her.
I get it. Well, I'm in Spokane right now, and there's a lot of like wildfires and stuff in the area, so shit's on fire anyway. No, so it's all good.
No, I see. Your signal strength is up on my screen here. So I mean, you're running at full 6 bars.
Yeah,
so.
I'm good. Yeah, I don't know what to do. It's all right. We'll move on. So the Liahona is a 45 ring gauge torpedo. Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper, San Andres binder, and then filler from Dominican Republic with a little bit from Paraguay, which is interesting. We didn't know that Paraguay tobacco existed until we were blending the cigar. It was kind of a surprise. We were trying to round out the blend, and it was missing something. And Hochi Blanco's son, Jose Manuel, was like, you know what? I got something we should pay attention to. And as soon as we tasted it, that Paraguay leaf rounded out the blend. So it's a really full flavored Connecticut that's still mild to mild plus, creamy, nutty, really accessible any time of day.
I wouldn't say that the strength may be on that mild plus-ish, but the body on that, the Connecticut is definitely it is definitely pushing towards a full-bodied smoke. It is definitely not a light smoke. So don't think of it as a light Connecticut. Strength-wise, not going to overpower you strength, but body-wise,
exactly. When I say mild, I'm talking about like nicotine strength. But if we're talking about body, right? We're talking about the texture of the smoke on the palate. We're talking about the intensity of flavor. This is medium plus to full body for a Connecticut for sure.
Yeah, it is. I love it. That's why I love that stick. I mean, it hits you all in. It hits the right spots.
Yeah. I think that San Andres binder really shines. I think the Paraguay filler rounds out the finish, and then you get what you expect from a Connecticut in those nutty,
creamy, buttery toastiness.
Yeah. And the size is cool, man. A 45 ring gauge, 6-inch torpedo. I haven't seen that. I mean, the last call from AJ comes close, but that's a 45 ring gauge mold that Hochi had to make just for that cigar. So that's pretty cool.
It's cool. Yeah. I like it. It's a delicious cigar.
Yeah, and then you and I are smoking our third release, the Deseret. That is our Maduro. That is our top seller. 96 rated San Andres Maduro with a Dominican binder, and then filler from the DR and Nicaragua. It's chocolate, it's coffee, it's a little bit of earthy notes. It's medium plus in strength, medium plus in body and flavor. This cigar, I try not to smoke it very often because I don't want to burn out, because this is a treat, man. This is like you've just had a really nice meal and now you want to cap off your night and have an experience. The Deseret hits that niche for sure, man.
Yes, it is a dessert stick. But
yeah, it's sweet, right? It's got like a honey sweetness to it, maybe a little bit of graham cracker in there, creme brulee. It's really complex, and it changes up as you smoke. Like all of our cigars have a little bit of a transition, but I think the transition is most noticeable in this one. It's 3 very distinct thirds on your palate, in strength, in texture. It's a cool cigar, man. I'm glad you like it. I'm glad.
Oh yeah, I love it. Yeah. Don't worry, folks, if you're just tuning in. The stream is on the streamer is at that time of the month, and it keeps booting him off. It's kind of like how it's been for me a couple times where it keeps booting me out, so.
At least it's popping in real quick, though.
It's coming back.
No big deal.
Of course, and Mr. Mark Alston from Select Draw. There, up, Mark? Deseret, super fire.
Hell yeah. Dude, Mark, what's up, man? Yes. I know Mark is a huge fan of the Deseret. So
yes, I do. The thing that I pick up most out of the Deseret that I think I love is there's almost this peppermint component to the retro.
So I had someone describe it to me as menthol, and I think what you're trying to do is not describe the flavor, but almost describe the sensation, right?
The essence. Yes. It has that peppermint essence to me on there. Not with the retro, not right. Just that kind of nice. There's this mintiness to it, that spice that hits.
Yeah, on the retro hail, it's a lot of baking spice, but it doesn't come across really hot or intense. It's almost like if you were eating a mint, right? How it kind of cools out the nasal cavity.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, because the dude walked up to me and he's like, "Man, how'd you get menthol in your cigar?" I'm like, "Dude, what are you talking about?" And the way he described it was more a sensation and a texture than an actual flavor of menthol, because there's no menthol in the cigar.
No.
Yeah. So
I do that for me, I like those kind of weird flavor note pickups like mint, right. like mint or peppermint.
That curveball, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I like those flavors. I like when I pick those up in cigars because I think those flavor notes are underutilized, and it brings the cigar together, especially a cigar that's a dessert stick.
And
it adds to that feel and essence.
Yeah. I like being surprised. I like being taken by surprise and not expecting something. And when you smoke the Deseret, there's 3 distinct sections where you have to kind of step back and be like, oh, I don't know what that was. I want to get into this. You know, it keeps you engaged, right? Yeah.
This, I mean, the Deseret is it's a banger. It could easily be an everyday smoke, but
yeah,
you know, it's delicious.
No, if I didn't have any discipline, it would definitely be an everyday smoke for me. But I try to keep it, you know, a couple times a week just because I don't want to spoil myself on it too much. And then the 4th blend is the Feathered Serpent. That's our Candela. That's an interesting Candela. The wrapper on there is not your typical Ecuador grown Habano seed. That is a Dominican grown Corojo seed. So it's thicker. It's a little more stout and hearty. It's sweeter. It doesn't have those grassy notes. It's more of like a green tea note coming off that wrapper. And then you have a San Andres binder and then all Dominican filler. But we skipped the Ligero on that one. There's no Ligero in that blend. We upped the fillers, the ratios a little bit to make sure it burns right. But there's no Ligero in there. So the intensity is pretty low. Flavor wise, it's nutty, it's creamy, and it's kind of like a matcha green tea to me. Tell me what you get. I don't know. Have you smoked that one?
No, I have not smoked this. I would not have taken this as a Candela wrapper, just based upon the look of it. I would not have assumed that was a you know, that's
it's very dark. Yeah.
So now you've piqued my interest on this.
Good.
Just because I took it out of the cellophane because you said it's a Candela, and I'm like,
right?
Is it?
Yeah.
It does not look. It does not look Candela.
Who provided the cigar for you? Where'd you get it?
So where'd I get these? The Tinderbox.
Okay, so
stream. It's all right. He'll be right back.
There we are. So Tinderbox in Haverford, Pennsylvania, was an early adopter of Apostate, and God bless Mike and the crew out there. So the Feathered Serpent that they have in stock, they ordered a lot, and they ordered from the first batch. The Feathered Serpent has become my number 2 bestseller behind the Deseret. So they stocked up enough in the front that they have not gone to the second batch yet. And that first batch of Feathered Serpent that you're smoking right now has had enough time to kind of darken up a little bit, so you can still tell it's a Candela. It's green, right? But it's a little bit darker than what you would normally get.
Yes, so, I mean, I see some green on it, but you said this was a criollo or a Corojo?
It's a Dominican Corojo seed.
Corojo. Yeah. Now, if you just told me this was a Corojo, not a Corojo Candela. Right. I would be fine. I'd go, okay, it's a Corojo. Okay.
Right.
Fine.
Right.
There's some green, but really, it definitely, it definitely has that Corojo smell to it off the wrapper.
Yeah. It's a little sweeter. It's got those earthy notes. Everything that a Corojo should be. Grown in Dominican soil on Hochi's farm in Jacagua. Jacagua is a region that's really good at sweet tones in the tobacco when it grows there. So it's a little more tropical, a little less arid. So yeah, it's a fantastic cigar. Hochi didn't want to do a Candela for us. We told him that we really wanted a Candela, and he straight up said no. He was like, I don't like Candela. I don't have a lot of Candela. So, excuse me, he had enough Candela to do kind of a round of test blends for us. But he didn't have enough for production. So when he tasted the test blend and he was like, oh, that's a really good cigar, actually, he decided to grow the Candela for us instead of buying it from Ecuador. So he grows Candela in a little section of his farm just for that cigar, that Feathered Serpent. So
excellent.
Yeah.
Joe from the Evil Empire, we'll give you a big shout out. Nice to see you there.
Yeah, hell yeah.
That's right. What's going on, girl?
So we've got 2 blends dropping very soon. The import is underway. We debuted them at PCA. but they will be hitting retailers within the next week or so. We're looking at our fifth release is called the Sword of Laban. It's a Churchill. It's a 7 1/4 length by 47 ring gauge, Corojo wrapper from Ecuador, San Andres binder from Mexico, and then all Dominican filler. If you go to the initiatory, the red label, it reminds me of that a little bit, but sweeter. So if the initiatory is dinner, the Sword of Laban is dessert. Same idea with the Corojo, same idea with the all Dominican filler and the San Andres binder. I get a lot of dried fruit notes out of it. I get some amaretto vanilla notes out of it. And that 47 ring gauge Churchill is a really cool format. It smokes for about an hour and a half, which is perfect. So I'm really excited for the feedback on that one. That's probably my favorite blend out of everything we've done. And then number 6 is called the Zara Hemla. It's a 6-inch box press Toro. It's Pennsylvania broadleaf on the wrapper, Cameroon binder, and then filler from Mexico and the DR. It's definitely our most complex and our most potent.
Ooh,
it's good, dude.
Ooh, nice. See, now you got my interest piqued on that one there, because you're taking a very heavy, bodied wrapper there with that, with the broadleaf, and going with something that is heavy sweet with the Cameroon. So,
imagine if you could turn, a gingerbread cookie into a cigar. That's kind of where it's.
He'll be back. You're not a Corojo cigar guy. Okay, you're not.
Those really rich baking spice notes and earthy tones from the PA. You mix that with those bready sweet notes from the Cameroon, and then you've got the Dominican San Andres filler to round it out. It's our most complex blend. It's our strongest blend.
All right. I'm gonna get my hands on that one.
Yeah, the box press is it's not a firm box press. It's pretty loose as far as box press goes, but it's there enough that it makes a difference. It's a really elegant size, feels good in the hand, feels good in the mouth. So I'm stoked for that one. Yeah.
So Sir Janssen there says he's not a big Corojo guy. It tastes like burnt oil to him. He's a sun-grown and Maduro guy.
Okay.
So,
sun-grown and Maduro is more the style of the wrapper, right? Where Corojo is an actual seed variety. Yeah, it's the actual type of tobacco. You can turn into a sun-grown. You can turn it into a Maduro. You can turn it into a Candela, which we did, right?
Yes, exactly. It's all how they grow the tobacco there, the Maduro. The aging process, the
where it's grown and how it's fermented.
So you like a Maduro, so you like a cigar that is fermented longer to. On that, you like the sun-grown, so you enjoy more of that power. The top part of the leaf.
Right. And so when you take a Corojo and you ferment it long enough to become a Maduro, that's where those oily properties come through. For us, when we do Corojo, we're not going super dark with it. We're not doing a long fermentation. So it keeps a little more of the sweet, earthy chocolate, little bit of coffee, but not really. More of like a dried fruit, sort of amaretto sweetness out of a Corojo. So it depends on the blend that you're putting the Corojo on top of, too. You know what I mean? If you're going to take a Corojo wrapper and throw it on a really strong blend, you're probably not going to taste that wrapper a whole bunch. It's going to be overpowered by the fillers. So it depends on who rolled it, where it came out of, how long it was fermented. But I dig what you're saying, dude. What he's saying is, maybe so far my Corojo experience hasn't been awesome. Cool. Try this one.
Try it. Exactly. So Sister of the Leaf there. She hasn't had an Apostate cigar yet. Are you in any shops in Canada?
Not yet. No, not yet. Those are conversations that we've had. Canada is a little tricky, right? Because their tax is really high. Their distribution regulations are not awesome. You've got to have, they've got to worry about packaging, with the warning labels and stuff like that. So no, we are not in Canada yet. We are in what part of Canada are we talking about?
She's in the Toronto area.
Toronto. I don't really have anything stateside that's close. I've got a couple shops in New York and New Jersey. We're gonna get to Canada, I promise. Maybe have Sister of the Leaf DM me and we'll see if we can figure something out.
There you go.
Yeah.
She's definitely one of those good. She's one of the good people in the community. Always out there cheerleading. Always loves to try new things. Always wants to try and get try and expand the culture and up there in Canada out. She's one of the good people out there. I love talking to her and hanging out. Doing Zoom hangouts with her. She's totally awesome.
You know what? For me, honestly, we touched on it earlier, and we can talk about this as much or as little as you want. But for me, it's not. My partner says it all the time, and every time I say it, I'm ripping him off. So, credit to Kendrick. It's not about the cigar. It's about what the cigar does, right? That's why we're here. It's about the community. It's about the connections. It's about the conversations and the experience, right? The cigar is just a vehicle for all of that. So
it binds us together. It does. Don't worry, people. If you're just watching, for some reason the streamer doesn't like Brandon tonight, so he just pops off but he pops right back on. So we're just gonna bring it on as if he didn't go anywhere.
I'm right here.
That's right. Sagrado. Yeah, there we go. There's John with Sagrado Cigars out there. He's in Canada.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
So, but you also have an advantage, I think, being up there with Canada with one of your employees. That's cheating.
So we'll hopefully be in Canada very soon. Those are all ongoing conversations. I had a good conversation at PCA with somebody who wants to bring us into Lebanon, which is a gateway to a bunch of other countries. So it's exciting, man. People are a year ago at PCA in 2022, when I saw you at TPE, a lot of people were like, hey, who's Apostate? What's it about? And now the conversation is, okay, I've heard of you. I've heard your story. I've heard about your tobacco. I really want to try it. So we're making progress, man. We're growing pretty well. It's only year 2 for us. So
I think you are, and you had a great location at PCA right next to Eric and Black Star Line, which
fantastic. I mean, you know what? Every trade show I've been next to those guys, and if at the next trade show, if I'm not next to them, I'm gonna leave because like those guys are amazing. Those guys are awesome.
Eric, Cliff, Mimi, they're all fantastic people. Yeah. They definitely, when you get to hang out with those guys, and you become friends with them, you're almost like family. It's like any event I go to that they're at, it's just like, oh no, you're rolling with us tonight. I'm like, okay. I went to a event Eric had in Denver, and I was just going to show up for a couple hours to support Eric. He's my friend. I ended up staying there the whole day, just sitting at their booth. He's like, nah, you're part of the team today. And I was like, how it goes. All right. Yeah. If you want me to be part of the team out there, I'll do it. Oh, it's Natalie. She's on the Sagrado account there. So welcome, Natalie. There you go. All right. Good pleasure, Natalie. Good to always talk to you out there.
So here's how it goes, man. For me, when I go on a podcast or a live stream, it's a lot of the same questions. How did you get started? Why did you want to make cigars? All that. What questions do you have, or do you think that the people watching would have? They're a little different.
I'm more on the nerd side of things.
Hell yeah, let's go.
So a lot of your blends, you're using San Andreas on your binder.
In every blend, almost
on a lot of your blends. Was there a particular reason why you chose to dig into the San Andreas on the blender? On the binder more so than going with your traditional binder leaves?
Yeah, honestly. So for Kendrick and I both, we're very highly aligned when it comes to the blending process. It's always both of us. We do not blend a cigar without both of us in the room. we have similar palates, but not the same palate, right? Our palates we find are very complementary. So the notes that I'm focusing on are not necessarily what he's focusing on, but the one thing we have in common is a huge love for Corojo and a huge love for San Andres. If we can find a way to put San Andres in a cigar, we're going to do it. So far, the most effective way and what has really kind of become our signature as far as our flavor profile goes is using San Andres as a binder. The Zarahemla with the Cameroon binder and the Deseret with the Dominican Olor binder. Out of 6 cigars, those are the only 2 that do not have a San Andres binder. For us, as far as flavor goes, it really rounds out. It's like you saw the Big Lebowski. The rug really ties the room together, right?
Mm-hmm.
The San Andres really ties a blend together.
Yes. So the San Andreas ties the blend together is where he was at on that.
Wrapper, filler, binder, whatever you
Mm-hmm.
want to do with San Andres. It should be a compliment. It shouldn't be necessarily the highlight, right?
No,
So
it's one of those versatile leaves that is delicious. It's delicious as a wrapper. The
mhm,
different stages of its aging provides it as a filler.
right,
Fantastic.
right,
As a filler, depending on the aging it's at.
yeah,
Especially some of the brands that go with the double San Andreas wrapper with the San Andreas binder, but it's it's at a different aging standpoint. So you get it and you're like, wow, I pick up that San Andreas, off the wrapper I pick up, but the binder that doesn't
right.
have that San Andreas feel. It's one of
It's
those versatile
yeah,
leaves.
right. It's one of those things where I think for the last 4, maybe 5 years, San Andres has really showed up, right? A lot of people are crazy about this leaf. It's a super flavorful leaf. And you have guys like Tatuaje who are just killing it with San Andres, um, who sort of help make it famous, you know? But the thing is, then everybody wants San Andres in their blend,
Mm-hmm.
but not necessarily utilizing it to its best potential.
No.
So for us, when we put San Andres in there, we're not thinking about highlighting the fact that it's got San Andres. We're thinking about San Andres should be the thing that, like, it's the dot on the I, it's the cross on the T, it's the thing that ties the blend together. It's not necessarily the all-encompassing highlight. So
Yeah.
and every blender is going to do something a little different. We're just using it as a leaf that is kind of our signature leaf. It's in every blend in one way or another. It probably always will be because we just love that leaf so much.
Yeah.
But
I
you,
do too. I can't say anything bad on that. We do have a question from in the chat here, so I'll post that up on the screen there from Sister of the Leaf. She goes, "What's the story behind the name of the company? Have you been asked that question in the past?" I'm
yeah, yeah. That is definitely our most frequently asked question for sure. Apostate it's a Greek word that means to rebel or turn away from, right? It's used most commonly in a religious connotation. So you'll find it in the Bible. For me specifically, and for my partner, we grew up in Salt Lake City, Utah. And if you grow up in Utah, odds are you grow up Mormon, right? So grew up Mormon, served a mission for the church. I actually went to the Dominican Republic as a missionary, lived there for almost 2 years, speaking Spanish, learning the culture, trying to teach people about the church. Lived next to a tobacco field. You know what I mean? I had no idea when I was 20 years old that 20 years later I was going to be going down there to blend cigars. But when you leave the Mormon faith, or any faith really that's Christian based, they'll call you an apostate. It's not a term of endearment. It's basically referring to somebody who has turned their back on the faith, on the true path, somebody who's a rebel, somebody who's no longer gonna hang out with you in heaven. Yeah, in Utah, it's a nice way to say you're going to hell.
Yeah.
So that's the basis behind that is that growing up Mormon, my entire culture, my whole community was Mormon. The kids I went to school with, my neighbors, my employers, my coworkers, everybody's Mormon. I made the decision when I was 25 to do my own thing and pick my own path and choose my own journey. So when I walked away from the church and sent all the right letters and told them I was.
Hold on.
I lost my community, right? You heard that much. When you lose your community, that's kind of a big deal. It leaves you feeling some kind of way. I felt kind of like I didn't belong anywhere for a while. And then, 3-4 years later, I found cigars. And I found cigar lounges and cigar shops. And I found this community that was doing everything that religion was supposed to do, right? It was including everybody. It was making everybody feel welcome. It was making you have a place to go and chill with people and have conversation and talk about your problems and, solve all the world's issues for an hour and a half. So when we decided in 2020 to launch a brand, it only made sense to call it Apostate, right? Because that's what they labeled us as. So instead of using that as a connotation of losing our community, we wanted that to be a term that talks about gaining community. We call it Apostate Cigars because that's our past. That's the path that led us to where we are. We're focused on building community now and building relationships. And if apostate is what you're going to call me, that's
there you go. Yes. Oh man, we've got a couple of questions popping up here in the chat. I'm going to put them up as they come up in here. So we'll go with Mark's question first. Fifi, I see your question there, so we'll get to yours right after there. But Mark's question for you is, could you talk about your fermentation time based on sweet versus robust?
Hell yeah, good question. So that the fermentation time there depends on the seed varietal. It depends on the type of plant you're working with. As far as sweet goes, are you looking for a Maduro? Are you looking for a sun-grown? Because you're talking anywhere from 2 to 5 years fermentation time. For us, the most fermentation occurs with the filler, and the filler provides a good chunk of what you're tasting in our blends. So at Ho Chi's factory down in the DR, the bulk of the filler that we're working with is like 5 to 6 years old before it even sees a rolling table. So that way you've gotten rid of the ammonia. You've allowed the leaf to really come into its potential as far as aging goes. If you're talking about, like bourbon or whiskey, 5 years is like the benchmark, right? For getting to something that tastes good. It's the same way with tobacco. Yeah. So the fermentation process for us, it depends on the leaf, but for Ho Chi's process and why we're working with that factory, you're talking about 5-6 years minimum. Yeah.
There you go. That's an excellent question, Mark. From Fifi on there. Brandon, who do you consider to be the ideal customer for Apostate Cigars? And where is the business and cigar culture heading in the next 5 years? Any new cutting edge aspects on the horizon? A detailed question there, but a good question. A good question, Fifi.
No, Fifi, you guys are bringing the heat. So to answer the first part, the ideal customer for Apostate is somebody who A, appreciates premium tobacco, but B, appreciates the community around it, the bonding, the brotherhood. We were really focused on retailers. We come from a retail background. So for us, the brick and mortar shops is the backbone of the cigar industry, right? And it's not just because you've got a skilled tobacconist who's able to provide recommendations and stock good product. You're talking about a craftsman who is also really skilled at bringing together a community and bringing together people and building something that means, anything at all. So the ideal customer for us is somebody who's curious and somebody who wants to make relationships, somebody who is open-minded. You're always going to have your leg. So the big manufacturers like Fuente, Perdomo, Padron, Oliva, those guys are not going anywhere, and nor should they. They belong where they are. They're center stage for a reason. They've put in hundreds of years of work to be where they're at, and we wouldn't be here without them. But what we are excited about is people who are curious, people who are maybe new to the scene, maybe people who aren't necessarily enamored with the idea of a big brand and want to venture out and taste everything there is to taste. We're a small brand. Last year we imported fewer than 100,000 cigars. This year, we're getting closer to that, but we're a small manufacturer. But everything we do is on purpose. So we want to put our cigar in the hands of people who are open-minded, who want a flavor adventure, and who want to build the community that's around them and support other smokers, support the brick and mortar, support the lifestyle, so to speak. As far as
I just wanted to commend you because I think that was a beautiful answer to the first part of that question there. That you're not like you're not in competition with Fuente and Padron. You're not there. But, for the ideal smoker, it's about building that community where these larger brands, the community aspect has kind of passed them by, but what you're building in something that's different out there, like a lot of the other small brands are. And I think that was a beautiful response. And I wanted to give you kudos on that response.
Thanks, man. It's not about exclusivity. It's not about competition. And even Carlito, you know what I mean? Jose Padron. These guys are not interested in competition. You couldn't touch them anyway if you were. You know what I mean? So like, it's not about building a higher wall to keep people out. It's about building a bigger table so that we can all sit down and have fun together. You know what I mean? So I've never once felt a sense of competition from these bigger brands. I've always felt included and supported, and I will sing their praises all day. Carlito is one of the best humans I've ever met in my life.
Yes, exactly.
I think sometimes there's a misconception about him because he is who he is, right? But Carlito is humble. He will remember your name if you meet him one time for 5 minutes. And he wants to see Boutique succeed. I've had that conversation with him. He and I have spoken, and he told me straight to my face, like, we need you here. You're the next generation. He's not going to be around forever. Hopefully his cigars will be around forever because goddamn. But yeah, man, it's for me, it's about community, and so thank you, Fifi. As far as the second part of the question goes, where do I see the cigar industry going? Who knows? Right now, we just got a big win with the FDA case, so I think there's a little less pressure on the manufacturers to scramble and make sure that they've got SKUs that'll carry forward, stuff like that, all that bullshit. I think right now what we're looking at is a new generation of manufacturers who want to fuck around and just make flavorful stuff. And I think a lot of them are saying what I'm saying, that we're trying to build a community. There's a bit of a cigar boom right now. I think COVID played a role in that. COVID was horrible, and it shut the world down for way too long. But what came out of that was a lot of new cigar smokers and a lot of new manufacturers who were hungry to make a mark.
I want to tap in on that to add on to what you did there. It brought out a lot, but over the last year, it has also weeded out a lot of those a lot of the pandemic brands out there. it has also weeded out a lot of those pandemic brands that weren't stable or set. And
Right.
those brands that have made it through now, a year
Right.
later, after everything has come back,
Right.
it's the same thing with like the online, the reviewers and online content creators. It weeded a lot of those people out, and
Right.
now I think the people who were in it for the right reasons are
Yeah.
still in it and
Yeah.
still here. And
Right.
so it was a blessing and a curse because it
Yeah.
brought a lot out, but also
Right.
a lot of people have also vanished because
I
you
agree.
know you know they
It was
they
it was
they
a
weren't
little
in it
bit of
for the right
a
reasons.
yeah, it was a little bit of a culling of the herd, right?
Mhm.
Talk about influencers for a second. They definitely play a role, like yourself, dude. I mean, how are you going to get awareness to smokers without podcasts and without live streams and without stuff like that? So there's definitely a place in the industry for influencers. I think there are people who are doing it for the right reasons and people who are doing it for attention, and the pandemic took care of that.
Yes,
You know what I mean? So
yes, it did. It
yeah,
did. Sagrado Cigars in with a question. What's been as a brand owner, where have been your biggest challenges?
hmm. Honestly, I don't even know if I would call them challenges. I would call them growth opportunities, right? For me, the challenges have been how can I be more effective in spreading the message? Is it social media? Is it print advertising? Is it online advertising? How do I get the message out there that Apostate is not trying to be a flash in the pan? We are trying to be a brand that is a part of the community, contributes, you know, helps move the industry forward. So, for me, it's not necessarily what is the challenge; it's how am I most effective, right? Um, and I think the best way to be effective is doing what I'm doing right now. I'm talking to you from my fucking Sprinter van right now, dude. I'm sitting in my Sprinter van in Spokane, Washington, in the middle of a road trip, in the middle of a cigar event. Like, you know what I mean? So you got to be on the road. You got to be shaking hands. You got to be putting cigars in people's hands, talking about your story, talking about why you're there, and making an impact. I can sit at home in Salt Lake City and make phone calls all day, and hopefully somebody gets it and wants to try it. Or I can show you that I'm serious by rolling up in my van into your town, hanging out with you, hanging out with your customers, handing out cigars, saying, "Hey, we think we have something worth paying attention to."
Yeah,
Um,
and I saw you are up at our friend. You are up there in middle of nowhere, Wyoming, in Gillette, Wyoming, the other day up there with our
yeah,
friends at the Cigar Box, putting
yeah,
on an event, and they're
yeah,
they're trying to build that culture in middle of nowhere America out there. And by the events, and they've been putting on fantastic events. I
yeah.
have gone up. I've driven up there to a couple of them that they've put on.
So, so you've been to Gillette, right,
My sister and brother-in-law live in Gillette.
bro? Gillette is a one-horse town, right? Um, it's a coal town. It's an oil town.
Mhm.
I was born and raised in Price, Utah. It's a coal town, livestock, oil town. Um, Gillette feels like home to me. It's a small demographic. What do they got? 3,000 people out there. Um, you know?
33,000.
Oh, okay. Oh, great, awesome. So those guys are hungry for a cigar experience. They're hungry for a cigar community. They're
Mhm.
hungry for premium tobacco. The more people like Cheryl and James who are willing to take a risk, set up shop in a fucking nowhere town on their own dime, and just hope that people care about it, the better off the industry will be. You can go up and down the West Coast and East Coast and you can find lounges, shops, everything you want where people are just killing it on the East Coast, West Coast, right? But you look at Middle America and how much harder it is to set up shop, get people involved at personal financial risk, um, we need a lot more Cheryl and Jameses in the
Yeah.
world.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I love what they're doing. I
Yeah.
love the events that they're putting on up there. You know, and they're different and unique experiences with the events that they are doing. They're making the events affordable. So,
Right.
you know, if you don't have a whole lot of money, but you want an experience
Right.
out there, they're providing a great experience at an inexpensive cost to you,
Right.
the consumer.
Right.
And I love that. And with the couple events I've gone to, they're getting people coming from Montana and Idaho and Washington State driving out there
Yeah.
to come to these events
Yeah.
because they don't have those types of events in those rural areas
Right.
that they have. And it's the closest event to go to. And I love that. I love people.
Right.
Man, if you can put on a good event, people are going to show up and they're going to want to.
And you know, when I was out there on Monday last week. We did a blending seminar, right? So what we did is we took the Liahona, the Connecticut, we blew it up and did each of the leaves that were involved in the blending of that cigar. We made little fumas of each leaf from the filler and the binder, and we passed them out. We smoked the Liahona, we smoked the filler components. We talked about the blending process. We talked about how each leaf makes a difference, and how when you smoke that leaf by itself, how it impacts the actual cigar, the finished product that you're tasting. They charged $50 a ticket. You got a meal, you got a couple of free drinks, you got a free cigar, you got a blending seminar. So for $50, you got a whole cigar education, you got food, you got beverages, and you had a memorable experience, right? If you're a cigar smoker, what you want out of an event should be something that you walk away from saying, man, I can't wait till the next time I get to learn more, you know?
And they're doing that, and so James and Cheryl, man, they're great people. I love what they're doing up there. You know, and you know, more rural America shops really need to, you know, that I think that they're setting the standard for how rural America shops can get people to come in, do events, you know, because look, getting the big guys in, that's hard to do, but the smaller ones, a guy like you, that's right up your alley for an event, and you're exposing people to your brand that may never have heard of you.
No, I had there were like 26, 27 people who bought tickets. Half of those had never smoked Apostate before. So that's you know, 15 people in a 33,000 person town that now get to smoke my product, know where to find it, know how to talk about it, and then go tell their friends about it. So
exactly.
Yeah,
I love it. You know, that's great. Big shout out there to Miss Michelle from Cigars with M. Right there. There's another amazing person out there who does great educational work. And it's great. And if anybody's going to be at Rocky Mountain Cigar Fest this weekend, you know, her and I will be rolling together. So come say hi to her, and then you can wave at me, her pack mule, because I'm yes, Ned. Yeah, that excellent. I think good question from the chat tonight. Anybody in the chat? You guys are killing it on the questions out there. I want to. This is your guys' show too. I'm just kind of the catalyst. Otherwise, I'll just start talking nerdy stuff about the blend, the blending aspect and the tobacco aspect. Was Hochi? Was he making, when you had the retail side, was he making your house blends?
So Abe Flores of PDR.
Okay.
Just across. All possibility. We look forward to any and all possibilities when it comes to collaboration. But yeah, Abe was making the house blends for Beehive. I think they have since switched to a different manufacturer. I'm not sure. I'm no longer super hands-on.
I was just curious on that.
Yeah, but no, Hochi. What we would like to do in the future is do sort of, you know, a budget Apostate level house blend. You know, something that we can provide in naked bundles to retailers that's maybe $5-6 retail. And work with Hochi in making a good quality house blend. So that's on the list. But no, man. When it comes to working with Hochi, I feel like we lucked out, dude. I
Oh, of
really do.
course.
I feel super blessed.
Hochi and JM are two of the greatest people, and that first cigar JM put out, you
Oh
know,
yeah.
the bug hit him and you just knew,
Right.
you want to talk about a rising star who's gonna be a superstar out there,
Dude,
JM for sure.
he's
I,
fucking
I love
23
talking
years
to him.
old, man. He's a kid, right? He's
He
23.
he, he
Um,
is.
he knows everything his dad knows. The only thing that's missing is the experience, right? And that's all coming. So every time we're blending a cigar, JM is in the room. He's there. Now, whether he's participating or not, that's up to us, right? If we're stuck, if we don't know, quite how to get to the flavor profile we're looking for, we'll ask for advice. But JM is always there when we're blending. So it's good, man. We feel blessed. Hochi has given us full access to basically do whatever the fuck we want to do, and we just feel lucky to be making where we're making.
Excellent. All right, couple more questions have come in on here. Sagrado Cigars there. What do you like or not like about Nicaraguan tobacco?
I love Nicaraguan tobacco. The complexity of flavor. There's nothing else like it. Everybody wants to talk about Cuba. I don't give a shit about Cuba. I mean, Cuba deserves it. Its credit for getting things going and the cigar industry being where it's at. It's not what it used to be. It could get back there. I've had great Cubans. Some of the best cigars I've ever smoked were Cuban. But as far as Nicaraguan tobacco goes, that's some of the most flavorful, stout, complex, robust tobacco in the world. And you'd be stupid to overlook it. So I love everything about Nicaraguan tobacco. I would say the only hurdle I have is that I've been smoking so much Dominican, and it's a little softer, right? It's a little lighter, a little easier to put down. Nicaragua kicks my ass now, dude.
Yeah. John,
And
John totally agrees with you.
if that's bad, then whatever. If that's as bad as it gets, who cares?
It
But
is.
no, Nicaragua. I mean, some of the best manufacturers in the world right now: Padron, Perdomo, Aganorsa, Plasencia. Fuck off, dude. You can't mess with those guys. Yeah.
No, and Nicaragua is so diverse
Yeah. Oh yeah.
With the regions, and
Yep.
growing the same seed in each region produces a completely
Totally
different
different.
cigar out there.
Totally different.
It's
Yeah.
one of those wonders out there that I think people back, when I started smoking cigars back in the early 2000s, Nicaraguan tobacco was it was on the back burner because
Coming up. Yeah.
people, it was too strong for
Right.
most people out
Right.
there. Dominican is where people went, Costa Rica, bit different out there.
Honduras.
But
Yeah.
there's been this big shift, I'd say over the last 5-6 years to Nicaragua because of the diverse in the tobacco,
Right.
where
Right.
you can have a Nicaraguan puro that doesn't smoke like a Nicaraguan puro out there. Okay, again, the streamer is not like in Brandon tonight, so
You cannot argue with the quality coming out of Nicaragua. Absolutely.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Question here from Miss Natalie Sims. There, she, as a new brand ambassador going to stores and lounges, what advice can you provide?
Make it about who you're talking to. So when you go to a lounge, when you go to a cigar shop, the instinct is to go in there and talk about yourself, talk about your brand, talk about why you're there. Cool. You got to do all that. Great. But you're going to be better served if you show more interest in the venue and the owner and the customers. So you're going to want to ask questions about who comes through here, who hangs out, what does well for you, what kind of cigars are you selling, how long you been in business, what brought you to tobacco. Get them talking. If they're talking 80% of the time and you're talking 20% of the time, you're good to go. You're good to go.
Excellent response here. What baccalaras is our okay? So on that, you've touched on that one there a little bit on there that you're being manufactured out of Tabacalera La Palma there in the Dominican from Hochi Blanco
Yep.
and the master blenders. Well, you're having the hand. You and your partner really have the hand on the blending itself with
We
the
do.
guidance of
Yeah.
Hochi and JM.
Yeah, we do the blending. If we get stuck, they help us out.
That I love that, a rock star, Hochi's one of those guys who's a rock star in the industry out there, but he's such a low-key guy. He doesn't look at himself as a rock star. He doesn't like being referred to as a rock star. He's a farmer, and he'll tell you that straightforward. I'm just a simple farmer from the Dominican. I'm nobody special, but he is. He's somebody special who works magic with his cigars.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And there's a lot of those guys out there. I mean, they're dedicated to the craft. Absolutely.
Is there a person in the industry you'd like to work with, or if you had the opportunity?
Yeah, man. So many. For me, who I really look up to are people who are students of the craft, right? So Nick Malillo is on the list. Anybody at Placencia, Aganorsa, Karen Berger, even. I would love to go mess around at Karen Berger's place. Nick Perdomo, obviously. Matt Booth, I would love to collaborate with Matt Booth. There's so many people who are so good at what they're doing that it's hard to make a list. If you point to somebody, I would make a cigar with them. Absolutely.
Yeah, there's so many, and everybody you mentioned, their styles are so different and unique out there that no matter who you touch, you're gonna work. It's gonna make
exactly
magic.
What I want.
Yeah, exactly. I think that you've touched on that great. This younger generation that's coming up, we talked about this a little bit earlier out there, the JMs, the Alec Cuevases, the Carlito the Fourth out there, what they're doing out there. They are the future that's, I think, coming out, and they're just the fact that all three of those guys, their first sticks they dropped were grand slams. Grand slams out there, that it has set this bar high out there, and I think it's a beautiful thing to see, and to have brands like you who have come in over the last couple of years that just, this stick is so good. I can't. Look, if you've not smoked Apostate out there, man, and again, I've only smoked 2 of their 4 blends that Apostate's put out, but I gotta say, I can't give it a higher compliment. I can't. That's how good both those blends are. And my interest is piqued on these other 2 blends out there.
Good.
Because I am not a Candela guy whatsoever, but I would have never known this was a Candela. So now I'm really
we blended that for you, bro. We blended the Candela for everyone who says I don't like Candela, including Hochi Blanco, who didn't want to blend it, who didn't want to let us make it there. So that Candela is for you, and I think you'll notice.
And I've had a couple of Candelas from a couple of companies out there that I'm like, all right, I'll try it, but it's a hard sell for me on a Candela that I'm just like, damn, dude, these things are fantastic. I don't know what you're out there doing to get that blend going, because again, Candela is an acquired taste. You want that pepper, you want that sweetness,
right?
But the wrong blending, and I think a lot of them, the blending's wrong on them. Is that it's like smoking a grass fire. and it's a complete turnoff. And
Yeah,
when
you got to do it on purpose. Yeah,
going out there, it's something that's different. There's a stick out there it's a double candela. It's a candela wrapper with a candela binder, and the smoke on it is fantastic. And again, it looks like a candela, but it doesn't smoke like one, and that's what I like. That's where my interest gets piqued. I want to break the blend down. Why? How'd you do this compared to this out there? Oh, there you go. Look, you're up in Canada there. Your Manitobans love candelas.
Hell yeah. Well, you should see us in Canada soon. I hate to do it, but I'm gonna have to bow out. I gotta get back to this event. But dude, thank you for letting me hang out with you and talk about the brand. I appreciate it.
Oh man, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for taking the time out to come let the people out there be introduced to you, the brand out there. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And let's
do it again soon, man.
I appreciate
it when I'm not on the road and when I can hang out for 3 hours.
Oh man, for sure, man. Definitely. If you're not following Brandon or Apostate, down in the description below, if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, all the links to everything I've posted out there on it. If you're watching on LinkedIn, well, you'll have to guess what link takes you where. I don't know. They do
check out apostatecigars.com. You can see all the links to the description of our blends there as well. We also have an events page, so you can see where we'll be next. So
there you go. Excellent. As Brandon bows out, I'm going to do a little cleanup, and I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Cheers, bro.
Man.
Love you, dude. Thank you, man.
Thank you, man. Awesome. Love it, man. I've been wanting to talk to this guy for a while, so I'm super happy that I was able to make it happen. He bows out. Little bit of cleanup work to talk about tomorrow night over on my IG Live, Raw Cigar Reviews. Miss Brandy Wheat will be rejoining me as my guest co-host, and we've got John Laurinati from the luxury cigar and accessories brand Peter James is going to be our guest tomorrow night. So tune in over on my IG Live, 7 p.m. Mountain, 9 p.m. Eastern on my IG Live feed. And next week, over here, great show next week. We have Sammy and JP from Supreme Tobacco Leaf of Haiti is going to be my guest, or my guests next week. So that will be a lot of fun. They're a brand that I've smoked a couple of years ago and I liked, but I was able to reconnect and have a nice conversation with them in Vegas at TP. And I'm like, man, I got to get you guys on the show to talk about your story. So definitely tune in next Monday night. That will be back at our regular time at 7 p.m. Again, this one was pushed back an hour because he is in the middle of an event. And he took an hour break to come on the show. So that's super awesome, man. I was so glad to have Brandon on. So thank you guys, and thank you everybody in the chat, man. Awesome questions tonight. You guys were on fire. You guys had some great questions out there. And if anybody's going to be in Denver this weekend for Rocky Mountain Cigar Fest, I'll be there. Ryan will be there. You can come throw eggs at Ryan for quitting the Tuesday show. Let him know how you feel. But Michelle from Cigars with Em and I will be rolling together for most of the weekend. So come say hi to us. She will be the superstar there. I will be her pack mule. And so you can come talk to us. We're nice people. Say hi to her. She's the superstar in all this. So I'm kind of just going to be the guy in the background that you probably see in every picture of her standing there like this. That's how I'll be, carrying all her shit because, she's the superstar. I'm just there to make sure, bodyguard, keep us safe. Natalie, yes, I'm excited to see you again this weekend. It'll be a lot of fun out there. So, unless anybody in the chat has any questions that they want to ask, or me, or anything I can answer for you, I think I'm going to end the show out unless you guys have anything you want to talk about. Other than I've already promoted everything I got. Pinned in the comments section is the link to my advertisers and partner shops out there, so you can go out. A couple of them, Casper Cigar Company and Flying Cigars, I do believe, do sell Apostate Cigars, and there are promo codes there. So if you guys want to try them, take advantage of those promo codes because they're there for you guys, so you can try excellent cigars like this. Man, this cigar is so good. This cigar is so good. So I think that's it. Looks like most of you guys are bowing out. So, man, thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for awesome show. And we will see you next Monday night, or come hang out with us tomorrow night over on IG Live. So we'll see you next week. Take care. Be safe out there. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. And have a great week, man. Peace out, everyone.